Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney General Garland, in a press release announcing the investigation, and I'll just preface, I'm from Minnesota, so you may guess where some of the questions are going, but in a press release announcing the investigation, you said that the DOJ's investigation into the Minneapolis Police Department will examine the use of excessive force by the police, including during those protests. Will you also be investigating the origins of the deadly and destructive riots that ravaged large parts of Minneapolis?
So I think these are two separate kinds of investigations. The one of the police department is one under the statute that authorizes us to do pattern or practice of unconstitutional policing. It's done by the Civil Rights Division. That was welcomed, I understand, by the chief and by the mayor, and that's a separate one. The investigations of the riots are undertaken by the U.S. Attorney's Office as well as by the state's attorney. I think it's called state's attorney, and maybe it's a county, state's attorney in Minneapolis, I guess. Those are two separate sets of investigations.
So you will not be, so your department, DOJ, will not be investigating that?
The U.S. Attorney's Office, to the extent there were federal crimes, has been investigating those crimes. I don't know, I have no idea where the...
DOJ will not be
Not Main Justice, I don't believe so, no.
Okay, but during the riots following the the death of George Floyd, dozens of people were injured, countless small businesses, churches were damaged, a police station was burnt down, a post office was burnt down, looted and damaged all over, and thousands of people had to flee Minneapolis to avoid the violence. Is the Department of Justice investigating these riots as an act of domestic terrorism at all?
So now I think, if I'm understanding correctly, we're talking about 2020.
After the death of George Floyd.
Yes, and that investigation, I think, that was ordered by the previous Attorney General, and I don't know whether that is concluded. I believe I don't know whether there are any ongoing investigations anymore from that investigation, except for the charges that were made at the time, and those cases are being followed, obviously.
Well, and Attorney General Garland, maybe you could get back to me in particular, or the committee on the status of those and what is happening with that.
I'd be happy to have my staff get back to yours.
Appreciate that. Yeah, and I wanted to focus a little bit on the third police precinct that was burnt down and still has not been rebuilt. Police officers don't even know if they're going to have a job in a few weeks, given the resolution that's in front of the body. They have a resolution, and you're probably not familiar with it, but they don't even know if they're going to have a job because they may be defunding the police in Minneapolis. The city is down over 200 officers since pre-COVID. If you talk to police officers, they're demoralized, they're struggling, they don't feel supported at all. They're having a very hard time, and you're the one initiating investigation of the Minneapolis Police Department. Considering all of the scrutiny that they are under, how do you propose Minneapolis can keep up police officer morale now that they're under investigation and criticism, all of the criticism they're taking as well?
Well, let me say first on the defund police issue, the department does not support defunding police, nor does the president. So we've asked for more than $1 billion, a major increase in funds for local police departments.
And sir, I didn't imply you did. I just wanted you to understand the context of the question because it's in front of the Minneapolis residents right now.
I do. With respect to the pattern of practice investigation, there were a large number of serious incidents that were well reflected in the press, and I think there was general agreement that there were problems. This does not mean that every police officer, quite the contrary. This means that my belief is, and from talking to many police officers, that they believe that it's important that there be accountability and that officers who break the law are held accountable so that the community retains its trust in the good police officers who do not break the law, and those are by, the very large majority. They need that trust in order to have the cooperation of the community, and that's the only way they can be safe, and that's the only way the community can be safe. So I think police officers should look at these investigations in a positive way, and we are trying to present them in a positive way.
And Attorney General, I think that the problem is that it's piling on. It is continuing to pile on, in particular in Minneapolis with these police officers who are there. They have, many of them have grown up there. They are doing their
Time of the
job.
gentlelady has expired. Mr.